Again, my eyes don't deceive me. He's one of the best players in the SEC. I thought he was in contention for Conference Player of the Year. And to not see him, as Laura mentioned, on first or second team in this conference is baffling.
See Galen Smith in the starting lineup for Alabama. His first start was yesterday. He had 8 points on the inside. Count it, and the foul for Dante Hall.
And not the way that you draw it up for Dante Hall. He fumbled the ball, otherwise it would have been a dunk. But because he fumbled it, he ends up drawing the foul and finishing up over the top in an opportunity for a three-point play. I think Dante Hall's got to be the key for Alabama today. But one thing Auburn doesn't have, and this is no secret, they have no height. So Dante Hall's athleticism and length can cause some issues for the Tigers.
Of course, Anthony McLemore. Anthony McLemore was lost with a season-ending knee injury, and he was critical to Auburn defensively with some presence in the middle. Harper couldn't connect, and the rebound tracked down by Ingram. Go up top to Hall.
And Tess,
another trip.
I love the game plan right now for Alabama. It was a beautiful look by Colin Sexton up over the top. He wanted Hall to just finish it right away instead of bringing it down. But back-to-back possessions, he's been able to draw fouls and now get to the free throw line. Hall has had some big games over the course of this season, but in the last couple, they've stayed away from him offensively. That would be ill-advised to do in this contest.
He had 11 points and 5 rebounds and a few key moments in the second half of yesterday's win against A&M. Had the big dunk with about 2.5 remaining to play that put Bama up by 3. That was a thriller yesterday, Sean.
That was as fun as a college basketball game you and I have broadcast in a long time. We've had some good ones over the years, partner.
Had great flow in the last couple minutes, and of course had great impact on Joe Lunardi's last 4 in and 4 out as it rattles out for Murray. As of right now, Bama looks pretty solid according to Lunardi.
The key on looking at that, too, is seeing the other teams around them. They've already lost, so they have no chance of moving back up.
Shot fake, Ingram on the drive. Nice job by Dazon Ingram. And once again, Mustafa Heron.
The Tigers want to play quick, and if you're going to be even a little bit delayed, as Colin Sexton was on that closeout, you got 2 guys on the wing in Heron and Brown that can flat out shoot it.
Here's Harper now. Heron again. Was looking for his 3rd straight as the ball bounces into the hands of Murray. Another chance for Auburn. Front rim and chased down by Hall. Turnover. Heron. And he will head to the line. Well, we were mentioning the last 4 in, last 4 out, and that must-win situation for Bama, the ultimate swing game, as both BPI and Lunardi were framing. BPI was saying you win yesterday, it's 99%. There they are now.
Well, and the only team that's actually still playing out of those 8 teams is Alabama. Everybody else has taken their loss already. So that's why when you think about, okay, can these teams move up from the first 4 out and pass Alabama, I just don't see that upward mobility based on the fact that they're not playing any more games.
Yep, you got to have the at-bats, and nobody else on the list does. Instead, in the Power 5 conferences, we're dealing with top seeds, power teams that have lofty status when it goes to the seeding. Of course, the ACC semis will be tonight. 7 o'clock on E2 will get us started with number 1 ranked Virginia against Clemson. They thrashed Clemson back in January, and then UNC and Duke for the 3rd time this year. Of course, they split. That is the ACC semi at 9 on ESPN tonight. Be monitoring Big 12 action throughout as well. Kansas will be on against K-State at 7 Eastern right here. Herbert Jones couldn't get it to finish. Harper gets it to Heron.
They're going to call that an offensive foul. That was great action by dribbling down to the baseline, throwing it back out to the wing. I thought Mustafa Heron got the block. I didn't see this as a charge, but if there's anyone that's going to take a charge for Alabama, it's Herb Jones.
Guys, talking to Bruce Pearl before this game, he said he was a little concerned because they hadn't played in 6 days. And, of course, Alabama coming off a game just yesterday. He felt like it would take him a few minutes to knock the rust off, thought maybe in the under 16 timeout they'd start to get things going.
How about Sexton?
Floor spacing and then the little dump-off pass and straight line drive. Here's the thing about Auburn without McLemore is you have no fear of getting to the cup. There's no one there really that's going to be able to block your shot.
Sean Murray was fouled as he made that drive.
All the points we've seen out of Alabama have been attacking into the paint.
2-point lead for Bama as it stands now.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Principal. Investments, retirement, insurance.
We have not won enough to earn the respect of this league. We haven't. Not the coaches that voted, okay? Not the media, nobody. Okay, nobody in this building believes we're going to win this game and win this tournament except everybody in this locker room right here. Because we've relied on each other and we've trusted each other all year long. All year long. It's not going to be easy. But that's what makes the championship so sweet. We survived games to win our first championship. We need 3 nights. We have not won enough to earn the respect of this league. We haven't. Not the coaches that voted, okay? Not the media, nobody. Okay, nobody in this building believes we're going to win this game and win this tournament except everybody in this locker room right here. Because we've relied on each other and we've trusted each other all year long. All year long. It's not going to be easy. But that's what makes the championship so sweet. We survived 18 games to win our first championship. We need 3 nights.
That nobody but us believes has been a constant theme from Coach Bruce Pearl. Well, he was outraged by his players being snubbed by the fellow coaches for all SEC. And they have been quite motivated throughout the year.
Said the first SEC regular season champion not to have a player and the coaches all SEC first team since it began in 1956. The 2018 Auburn Tigers, I'm just saying, and he's right. We talked about this yesterday, and I felt Yante Maton should have been the conference player of the year. Said, well, Tennessee had a better season. Grant Williams is a tremendous player, which he is. Well, if that's the case and you're going to give it to the Tennessee player based on that, where is the love for this Auburn Tigers team? And I understand the way the season started, the controversy that was going on off the court, but credit the guys that are there. Credit Bruce Pearl and this coaching staff for keeping these guys close together and believing that they could accomplish something that in reality not many people saw. He's right. Everybody in that locker room might have saw it, but there's a lot of us on the outside that didn't believe that it could happen, especially with the 2 guys that are not part of this in Purifoy and Wiley.
Yeah, such unique circumstances early on. There were steps there as Sexton got the engine started and is now 4 turnovers forced in 10 Bama trips by Auburn.
You look at Auburn by the numbers, their offense is as explosive as any in recent memory, really, in the SEC. 13th best in the country. Their road victories is what stands out more to me. The winning record on the road in a conference this year that's as deep as the SEC is very impressive, and the reason for why they're here. And let me just also point out this, Tess. It's not like they haven't had adversity during this run. We talked about McLemore being gone, but there were numerous games in conference play. In the second half, this team is trailing by 10. Trailing by 17 at home against Texas A&M. I know they lost the game by 1, but Bryce Brown didn't even play. They made it a 1-point game. They are resilient. They don't stop playing. Tennessee and Auburn are the two teams in the SEC this season that played most consistently with the highest motor.
Well, Auburn led the SEC wire to wire. The last three teams to do that, to go wire to wire in the SEC, won the SEC tournament and at least 3 games in the NCAA tournament.
Right now, the biggest issue for Auburn is fouls.
5 team fouls for Auburn early on here.
And why are we seeing the foul issues? We're seeing an aggressive Alabama team. They are attacking. They're getting into the paint. They are looking to drive.
From the corner, Petty too much. That'll be charged on Daniel Giddens. You know, you bring up Mustafa Heron and the others being snubbed for all SEC. And Heron outscoring, out-rebounding the SEC Player of the Year, Grant Williams, statistically. As they've been throwing around that stat, here's Spencer. And it drops, and he goes to the line.
He goes to the line, and Giddens goes down.
As you see Daniel Giddens, the 6'11 sophomore, grabbing his right knee. Let's see what happened to him here, Sean.
On the turn, it's that knee-to-knee contact, that left knee. See it again. Maybe a better opportunity to see right here. Oh no, he's grabbing the opposite knee as he planted. I thought originally that there was some knee-to-knee contact, but he's grabbing the opposite knee, which would add some more concern there because that was a non-contact injury.
Exactly. They're going to help him off the court here. Daniel Giddens. This is the way the SEC tournament looks here in St. Louis, as Kentucky and Georgia will be coming up once we wrap up here. Yante Mayton was spectacular yesterday against Mizzou. And now the matchup with Kentucky, and Kentucky without Jared Vanderbilt.
When I look at that Arkansas-Florida game coming up later on tonight on the SEC Network, and Florida played so well last weekend against Kentucky, got a little bit better momentum. Kayvon Allen being aggressive like Alabama is today.
Smith with the finish. Here's Bryce Brown against Petty. Bryce Brown just scored his 1,000th career point in their last game, 36th player in Auburn history to do so.
And that's what I talked about in the opening. Great three-point shooter, we knew that, but where he's gotten better is more comfortable in driving, mid-range jump shots, finishing at the cup.
Mitchell, back of the neck, and the rebound that time by Key as Sexton is on the go. And Brown comes in and will be charged with the foul.
A little hesitation, change of pace by Colin Sexton forced Brown to run into him. And now one more foul, and it's going to be a bunch of free throws for Alabama. That's why Alabama, you've scored 8 of your 11 points in the paint. The other 3 have come from the free throw line. So you've got to continue to be this level of aggressiveness and try to manufacture points at the free throw line, slow down the game, and in doing so, also put guys to the bench for Auburn.
Bama's +4 in points in the paint. And there you see Giddens being helped back. He is not putting weight on that leg. T takes a step in, gets it over to the corner. AJ unable to get it to drop. Harper at the point had 21 against Bama last time out. Mitchell for 3.
Nice step back that time, in rhythm. He was a prolific scorer in high school, top 100 recruit, 61 by ESPN.
And all of a sudden you look up and it's Auburn up 6. unable to respond. And Spencer comes away with it and was fouled.
Let's go back to that injury, though. It looks like there was some contact originally right there. See that? That's the contact that you're looking at on the drive. And then the reaction from it came afterwards. So on that initial look, we didn't see that need to need contact, but then you do there. So I think that should make you feel a little bit better.
Kiki got caught up, tried to tap it away, but was on the baseline.
For Alabama to be successful, they are going to need to make some shots from the outside. And John Petty has been almost allergic to the red uniform, the crimson uniform. I mean, his numbers away from home, Tess, are 17% from the field and 18% from the three-point line. He's got to find a way to be able to make some shots here in the SEC tournament for them to win in a game like this.
Alabama 0 of 5 shooting from 3.
Great rotations by Auburn defensively.
This is what they do best. That time it looked like Harper lost his footing. You see that left foot slip. And now Reese on the other end.
You're right, Harper lost as he went to plant. The foot slid out underneath him. He had no elevation on that shot, which is why it was so errant.
Steps by Okiki. 2 turnovers in the last 3 possessions by him. Well, Avery Johnson was all smiles yesterday afternoon. We'll hear what he has to say when he talks to Laura in just a moment. Stay with us. Top-seeded Auburn with a 4-point lead here against Alabama. The rivalry continues here in St. Louis. Alabama got the best of them back in January. Petty had 27 points back then on 8 3-pointers. Alabama today is struggling to shoot from outside. 0 for 5 from 3.
Yeah, they're 0 for 5 from 3 and 5 of 6 inside the arc. You got to continue to be aggressive. Don't settle for the shot from the outside. Now, why have they settled for some of those shots, though, Tess? Is because the Auburn defense. They've done a great job mixing, clogging the lane after the initial start and forced them to shoot over the top.
Alabama with all 5 of their field goals in the paint. Laura's with Avery Johnson.
Thanks, Tess. Coach, a loud huddle just now. What was the message?
The message was, let's be aggressive. Too many times we're playing east and west. Let's get north-south, especially against their pressure. When we can play north and south, get to the baskets, good things happen.
If Daniel Giddens can't return, how does that impact the game?
Excuse me?
If Daniel Giddens can't return, how does that impact?
Well, fortunately, we got a couple other big guys. We got Dante and Galen, and Reese can play some 5, but we hope Daniel's okay.
Thanks.
Thanks, Laura. Giddens went out with an apparent knee injury earlier. We'll check on him throughout this game. You mentioned Smith and Hall. Reese, a guy who's a little more comfortable stretching out and shooting from outside, but Hall and Smith undoubtedly significant presence in the paint for Bama.
Well, what Avery was just saying, though, is the same thing that we were just talking about, Tess, before the interview, is you've got to maintain your level of aggressiveness and find a way to attack this defense. But look at the ball pressure. They're forcing the ball to go east-west. They're not getting it north-south right now.
Well, Avery's son unable to get it to go there.
If you're Auburn, those are the type of shots you want to give up.
And Brown couldn't control it. It's 5 turnovers now for the Tigers.
The thing you have to sit back and enjoy about Auburn is just how quick they rotate offensively. Now, Colin Sexton comes back in the game. That changes the pace here a little bit, to say the least. But watch the way they are able to rotate back to the pass. Strong denial. They look for you to have to make pressure releases. They've got built-in help side.
Key was a little off balance there, floating out to the left. And Spencer did a really nice job getting that rebound. Harper weaving, then kicking, extra pass. And tapped out back to Harper. Here's Brown. Couldn't get the bounce. Yet another chance and a score underneath from Murray.
And that is the epitome of the Auburn Tigers. They have a great motor. They do it collectively. They may be undersized, but they just keep playing. Multiple shot opportunities before they finally find their mate. 6-point lead for the Auburn Tigers. Watch this. They're undersized, right? But look at their positioning, how hard they fight, how strong they are underneath. In particular, you think a player like Deshaun Murray, he's a great rebounder for being 6'3", averaging almost 7 per game. And the reason why he's able to do that is he wants it more. He puts himself in that position test, uses his upper body strength to create space.
More from Sexton. He is so explosive. And one of the plays of the year yesterday, 4.4 seconds left, the coast-to-coast drive, floater to beat the Aggies. And Laura was talking to Avery Johnson moments ago about the impact of Giddens walking off the court injured. We just saw Reese go back with a trainer from the Alabama bench. He had mentioned Alex Reese among one of the bigs they can lean on. Word we're getting now is that Daniel Giddens will be able to return to this game. Look at Heron tracking and now getting out to Brown. 3 ball wouldn't go. Rebound by Key. Up ahead, Sexton. Good pass by Key and the finish from Dante Hall.
He worked against the zone, especially in transition when you're still trying to settle into it. Get that ball to the high post. You occupy one defensive player who's caught in between two. He has to make a decision, and when he does, it opens up the back line.
Petty. So much success earlier this year against Auburn, hitting threes. But they are struggling from 3 tonight. 0 for 6. Harper. Nice job to get there, but it wouldn't go for him. Look at the hands of Brown. Line it up. Couldn't put it down, but little Jared Harper at a media guy at 5'10" standing by.
Well, and just poor job by John Petty, not making any contact whatsoever. He just anticipated the miss to go long, but didn't make any contact to get that rebound.
Possession goes the other way with Auburn.
Again, you can talk about the size of Auburn all you want. How about you talk about the heart of this team? He may be small. He might be the smallest on the floor, but Harper, he doesn't care. You don't put a body on him, he'll track that ball and finish it. The Auburn Tigers, they got themselves a will here in St. Louis.
The personification of rivalry.
It's ridiculous how good this is.
UNC and Duke. The saga continues.
Weekend Menu is brought to you by Buffalo Wild Wings, and the weekend has started early, and it is a great one. We got a rivalry game in front of us here with Bama and Auburn, and then K-State, Kansas on ESPN tonight at 7 in the Big 12, and then a rematch of last year's semifinal that was won by Duke at 9 o'clock tonight on ESPN, North Carolina and Duke. The Classic in New York, 22nd time they have met in the history of the ACC tournament.
And this Duke team has been a completely different team since they've gone to that zone defense. In the last 8 games, Tess, they're holding opponents under 60 points per game, under 38% shooting from the field, and under 26% from beyond the arc. And that last game in Cameron, after Marvin Bagley started getting going underneath, it opened up everything on the outside, and the threes were just raining in for the Blue Devils.
Now Deshaun Murray got going there. Bagley was phenomenal in Thursday's quarterfinal win against Notre Dame. 33 points for Duke last night. Largest lead so far for Auburn. as Herbert Jones will get a trip to the line. Foul charged to Chuma Okeke, his second. Laura?
Alabama's been dealing with some injuries in this game, Tess, and just in that last huddle, Dante Hall dealing with an eye issue after a collision with an Auburn player. Avery Johnson looked at him and said, "What's wrong with Dante now?" So they have dealt with his situation. He's back out on the court, and then, of course, Reese had been taken to the locker room. He's back. Giddens also available, but they are not at 100% with some of these issues.
Giddens left with the knee. Reese walked off with the trainer. Now, Laura, the report on Dante Hall. I think he would answer that question that Laura asked a little differently 5 minutes later.
And the thing about the game, too, is Auburn. You talk about will, so much about rebounding is about effort, putting yourself in the right position and going after the ball, not waiting for the basketball. Auburn has 5 offensive rebounds in this game.
How about the wiggle and then the shot from Jared Harper? 10-point lead now for the Tigers. Nice answer that time by Colin Sexton.
Colin Sexton likes this building. He
Sure
came
does.
into this game, this tournament, 2 for his last 17 from beyond the arc. He is now 4 for 6 in this tournament.
Short corner for Murray, couldn't find it. Sexton 27 points and 5 assists yesterday, and of course the game winner. Ingram, that was ugly. Pass underneath, and the finish from Hall. Good assist from Herbert Jones.
You just got to keep feeding him. I know what Laura said. He might have an eye issue, got hit in the head, whatever. As long as his hands work and he can jump and finish around the basket, there's no one that physically can block his shot underneath.
Jared Harper, who was grossly under-recruited, a high school teammate of Colin Sexton's. Offensive foul, first on Harper.
Look, everything for Alabama has been at the iron with the exception of Colin Sexton's three-point look. Look at the way you isolate a defensive player. You've got clear out spacing, a little post up and pin and seal by Galen Smith opens up the driving lane. Now, the little handoff action. Look as the defense is spread out. Colin Sexton's like a running back. Sees the gap, go ahead and finish. The back line, nobody's back there as they elevate up the defense at the high post and they get an easy one.
Meanwhile, Braxton Key with an easy one, his first basket. And Alabama has cut it to 3. And just like that, Deshaun Murray puts down a 3.
If you give an inch on the three-point line, Auburn feels like they can knock down the shot. You've got to be better attached to the defensive end of the floor if you're Alabama.
Murray has 10. He has really worked on his outside shot significantly in the course of the past year, and it showed up this season. Hall backing down, wouldn't go in for him. Got the position he wanted, couldn't get it to drop. Mitchell through the lane, and a foul on the floor that time. As that'll be charged to Braxton Key. 2 now on Key.
About the 14-minute mark, Tess, that Alabama was 1 foul away from getting to 1-on-1. They still only attempted 3 free throws.
Aaron, nice work that time to make it happen. 9 points here from Mustafa Heron. Fouled hard was Herbert Jones. As Horace Spencer was coming in his second.
I love the fact that Alabama's trying to run the floor. They've got to create tempo. They've got to create opportunities to, when the floor is spread out, to get to the rim, because Auburn's defense, for the most part, has done a really good job of pressuring the basketball and forcing Alabama to play side to side in these half-court possessions.
Herbert Jones, who has earned playing time in recent months because of his ability defensively. Been seeing more and more of him. Dad was his high school coach. You can see it in his defense. Very close with his grandfather. Loved the game. Passed away before the season, did his grandfather. And to honor him, he goes by the first name of Herbert. Shares that name and takes great pride. Murray fed on the inside to Okiki, who got tied up. And that's the third tag to Herbert Jones.
To be real honest, I'm surprised they're calling that in the act of shooting. It was on the dump off right away, and instead they're giving him 2 free throws. There's no question it was a foul. I don't think it was a jump ball, but I just thought it was immediately on the pass. I didn't think there was any upward motion into a shot.
6'8" freshman Okiki knocks down both in the win against Alabama on February 21st. He had a very solid effort, career high 16 points, 10 rebounds. Sexton lost control as he went up. Going to stay with Alabama. Auburn in control early on here.
Alongside Jimmy Dykes, I'm Adnan Burke. Meet me in St. Louis. Coming up on the Audi halftime report, we'll preview Georgia and Kentucky, plus Tigers surging right now in the golf world. Jimmy, what are you seeing in this first half?
There's 3 things you have to do against Auburn if you're going to beat them. Number 1, you have to delete the drive, especially from the side. You cannot overhelp. They're the best in the country at those backside threes, and then you must rebound the backside of the rim, something that Alabama has not done well so far.
From the shape of water to the shape of Joe Tessitore.
And leave it to Adnan Burke to mention Vicente Minnelli's 1944 musical, Meet Me in St. Louis, fresh off his hosting duties at Oscar.com. Joe, Sean, and Laura with you here in St. Louis, where it has been an outstanding SEC tournament, with yesterday the second round 4 games, only 11 points separating the outcomes of those games. Of course, Alabama was involved in the thriller of the day. Colin Sexton's game winner, buzzer beater to beat A&M. Well, a couple of timeouts ago, we were able to listen in to a wired up Bruce Pearl.
Listen up, 1s and 2s. Listen up, 1s and 2s. Listen up. You both have got Sexton in transition. In transition, you guys both got him in transition. You understand, 1s and 2s up top? Both of you have nothing else to do. You double team him.
And Sexton's been very efficient in this game so far. 3 of 4 shooting, 7 points, and a couple of those layups at the rim. 2 of those made baskets came out in transition. Alabama continues to struggle outside the paint, just 1 of 10 this afternoon.
Sexton knocks down the 3 for Alabama.
And make it 2 of 11 outside the paint now. Both the 2 makes coming from Colin Sexton.
And he is at double digits.
And the key on that one was the drive and bringing the defense into the middle of the paint, collapsing, and then kicking out, spacing the floor for Colin Sexton.
Harper on the feed to Herron. Good work from Mustafa Herron, and Jared Harper with the assist. Offensive.
An easy one. We go back to the other end of the floor, though. Mustafa Herron just so strong. His upper body strength. He started the game from beyond the arc, being aggressive and attacking, and then utilizing his shoulders and athleticism to drive the seam and finish on that last possession.
Just the first personal on Colin Sexton. Rattles out for Brown. Petty still has been so off, but second chance just sitting there was Dazon Ingram.
It's got to be in Petty's head now because that one wasn't even close.
I told you all the success he had against Auburn back in January. He had 8 3-pointers in that win over the Tigers then. And you mentioned the struggles away from Tuscaloosa, shooting only 18% from 3 on the road. This is what Pearl was concerned about. Sexton as he leaves it for Key and was fouled by Okeke.
Now, Colin Sexton, facilitator on that last play, but so far today he's been aggressive and he hasn't missed a beat from where he was yesterday, coming downhill, aggressively attacking, and then spacing, able to hit the three-point shot. A much better shooter than what he showed late in the season. 2 made three-pointers, equaling what he had yesterday. A special talent is Colin Sexton.
I thought yesterday the way Starks and Sexton went at it in the final 2 minutes, and to consider what happened on Saturday when Starks, they were jawing, shoved him in the head, and then the flagrant one that Sexton had yesterday, for them to decide it on the court, back and forth, trading shots. That was some awesome basketball.
Well, and what you saw too was the emotion. What is March really about? You're watching all these conference championships this weekend. It's about the emotion of the game. And for Bruce Pearl, he's trying to channel the emotion. That pregame speech we showed you, it's all about emotion. It's all about believing in yourself. As Murray knocks down the 3 from the outside.
He is 13 already, Sean.
He has played outstanding.
The transfer from Presbyterian, sat out last year. Really typifies what Auburn is. Undersized, 6'3". He's been tenacious all year. Good work that time to get after it as well with Murray. As the foul will be on Ingram, his second.
You have to love what Deshaun Murray has brought to this team this season. The transfer from Presbyterian averaged 20 points per game. And now you come in after some redshirt and sitting out a year. You come in and you're trying to find yourself with a collection of really good guards on the outside. And you lack in height. You step up as far as the quality of play goes and the athleticism into the SEC. And he accepts his role and flourishes in it.
That's a great way to put it. At Presbyterian, he was the man, but he has sacrificed and he has played to the role perfectly for Bruce Pearl. He's really developed that outside shot. He only had 1 made three-pointer in the previous 2 seasons. And now a willing shooter and a capable shooter has contributed well here in this first half for Auburn, enjoying a 10-point lead. Final minute of this first game of the SEC Tournament quarterfinals. Avery Johnson Jr. off the ball screen, probing into the paint. And a rebound by Dunbar. And a 2-second differential on the clocks.
You dominate the glass as a team. Almost every player that has checked in the game for Auburn has come back and grabbed at least 1 rebound.
Brown, long 3. And the long rebound, just hoping for something before we hit double zeros. As 0.6 remains here. And Auburn off to a very good start. You know how much that double bye means here in the SEC.
It's been Mustafa Heron and Deshaun Murray pacing the offense for the Auburn Tigers here in the first half. Really impressed with their ability to crash the glass, secure offensive rebounds, and just their overall team toughness.
Laura is with Bruce Pearl.
Thanks, Joe. Coach, you wanted your guys to show Colin Sexton 10 eyes and 5 bodies. How have they handled him this far?
At times, well, but you could see Sexton getting it to the lane. I think we got to do a better job when he gets deep to try to take some charges in there, be physical with him. He's a handful to keep out of the lane.
Overall, anything else you'd like to adjust in the second half?
Well, Deshaun Murray shot the ball really, really well. We just got to continue in our man finding matchups that we can go to, and we got to do a better job of getting back in transition and making them beat us from the perimeter.
Thanks so much. And Ann Berg, take it away.
Commissioner Greg Sankey and Kevin D. from Allstate.
Bull Eads played guard for the legendary Brown Show Jordan at Auburn from 1935 to 1937. He later returned to become Auburn's all-time winningest coach with a 2013 and 100 career record from 1950 to 1963. His 62.3% winning percentage in SEC regular season games ranks 11th in SEC history. Eads earned AP SEC Coach of the Year honor.
Besides, Colin Sexton made a shot outside the paint for Alabama. Ingram, Braxton Key, and John Petty have to step up.
Laura, what did Avery have to say about this?
Tess, Avery said he's tired of Deshaun Murray having target practice out here. He said that's not going to work for us. We're going to have to contest some of those shots outside. He said they were too worried about him inside. And then as for offensively for Alabama, he said he actually wants him to try to continue to make shots in the paint. He said that's going to be our best bet, wanting everyone to play aggressively offensively.
And that's what worked for them yesterday. You see Sexton's success from 3. The rest of the team 0 for 9 shooting threes. How about that from Horace Spencer defensively?
Not really a real aggressive move, though, by Jones. I mean, he kind of exposed the ball going to the hoop. It wasn't with a great deal of passion and fire going to the rim.
Spencer said, thank you. I will just take that from you. Turnover. Bama on the go. And through the lane with the finish, Braxton Key.
When Alabama's at its best, Braxton Key, Dazon Ingram, they're having an impact on the game. In the first half, they combined for just 7 points.
Harper had that knocked away, but fortunately for him, Brown was waiting. Brown challenged by Jones. And another turnover, 2 straight trips now. Sexton, his 3rd of the day. And Alabama with a good start to this second half.
The ability to tighten the game up in transition. Turnovers have been so key in these 2 matchups. Think of this, in 2.5 games. Do you know how many turnovers Auburn had forced Alabama into?
What was it?
45. 45 turnovers, and 28 of those were steals.
They had 5 steals in the first half. 28 steals in 2.5 games against the team. Foul charge to Herbert Jones, and that is 4 now on Herbert Jones. Remember, yesterday it was thrilling throughout the day. Close games here in St. Louis. Only 11 points separating them. Mississippi State had a hold on, as did Arkansas in the nightcap. They will be in action later tonight on the SEC network. Arkansas, Florida, Mississippi State, Tennessee, of course, on ESPN. We have Duke, North Carolina to cap the night in the ACC from New York, and Kansas and K-State at 7 o'clock in the Big 12.
Big question mark there, is Dean Wade going to play? He's got a reported foot injury that could make the 6'10" forward questionable.
Look at the range on Colin Sexton. 16 points now, and it's a 2-point game.
They call him the young bull, and he has come out of the gates quick here in the second half.
8-0 Bama run. Herron spin through the lane, and he's fouled.
Good idea by Heron. I like the previous possession as well when he had Colin Sexton on him, understanding he has a size advantage. That time he got a little bit of an angle, and when he gets you on his hip, he does a great job of getting to his spot first and not allowing you to recover and get back in front of him.
82% from the stripe is Heron. Gets there as John Petty picked up his first. Short arm deck. Sophomore from Waterbury, Connecticut. Grew up about 10 minutes away from ESPN headquarters in Bristol. Didn't play on the February 21st meeting between these teams. Stomach illness.
When you talk about Waterbury being close to Bristol, is that with or without traffic?
Yeah, trust me. As many in our production truck would tell you.
What's the difference as far as the travel time there?
Pretty significant on I-84.
Okay.
Skip pass, corner. Nearly the putback that time from Hall, but instead it's Harper up ahead and couldn't finish on the oop end with Heron. Brown, step back. Rattles out. And the rebound with Hall. Again from Sexton. Red hot is Colin Sexton. 19 points now and another 3.
It's just getting silly right now, Tess. I mean, first of all, if you're Auburn, it goes back to what Bruce Pearl said in the Wired segment in the first half. You have to know where number 2 is, and you can't give him space.
And that 3 ball by Colin Sexton, that's 560 points now on his season. Here's Spencer underneath, and here comes Sexton knock. And he breaks the Alabama freshman scoring mark with that 3. And from the corner now, it is Dazon Ingram, and Alabama has a 3-point lead. Sexton a big day. The freshman scoring record for the Tide. Heron, step back, won't go. And that looked like Murray was coming over.
Joe Tessa
they
said
are charged up, Farnham.
I said coming out of halftime, you need more Colin Sexton. Well, more Colin Sexton is exactly what Avery Johnson has got coming out of the break. He's been so confident. Put your hand down. He's going to embarrass you and knock down the 3 over the top. He's playing with emotion. His energy feeds his teammates. 3 3-pointers already here in the second half. And then out in transition. Give it up. Knock another one down from the corner. The Tide are on a roll.
Glad you're with us for Champ Week, presented by Principal, part of the SEC on ESPN. Joe Tessitore, Sean Farnham, Laura Rutledge with you as Alabama's on a 14-1 run to open up this second half. They were 2 for 12 from 3 in the first half. They're 4 of 5 shooting threes in this second half, and Sexton has led the way with 19. What a 24 hours for Colin Sexton.
He has just been absolutely phenomenal. 19 points here tonight and just lights out down the stretch of the game. You mentioned how great Alabama's been out of the break. Look how cold Auburn has been. They have yet to make a shot here in the second half. Big thing is, can you maintain your emotion and your level of play coming out of a timeout? Sometimes a timeout can cool you off a little bit. We'll
Come
find
on
out
now.
right here.
Short of that, I mean, his kid's been red hot. He wasn't bashful about taking that one.
Did not like that possession, though, because nobody was moving.
Laura, what is Bruce Pearl saying?
Exactly what Sean's talking about. He said, we're not running our fast break. We're walking it up every time. That's not how we play. You can't just stand back and hope they miss. He also told him, don't panic. This is just about better energy that we need. Also, once again, emphasizing, do not give Colin Sexton space.
Braxton Key just picked up his 3rd. Murray trying to get past Hall.
I love that. I love the way they space the floor. And see, this is where the undersized aspect of Auburn works to their advantage, Tess. Because how often is Dante Hall having to guard a guy like Deshaun Murray that can drive it off the perimeter? I go right back to it.
See if they get that spacing.
They're going to be on-ball screen.
Watch the ball screen back to Murray. And offensive as he came charging in against Ingram, and that is 2 on Murray.
Instead of popping, he slipped a little bit towards the basket. I think he would have been better served to space out and get that three-point shot like we showed you coming out of halftime, where he had such confidence in the first half to knock that shot down. Space out instead of going into contact.
Here's Key. Shot fake and then settles back. Fouled by Mitchell. That's his second. Well, Sports Center at 6 p.m. will be coming your way. I'll tell you which LA celebrities LeBron puts a show on for. Talk about the bubble locks and the locked out. Avery Johnson is glad that he's more secure on that list. And also Tiger Woods. Second round action as he is having a great day.
LeBron James was into Colin Sexton's finish last night. He liked it on Instagram.
Yes, he did. A couple million people were following that finish on Instagram, watching that ultimate highlight that Sexton put forth against the Aggies.
Yeah, you see a leaderboard, by the way, in golf, and you see Tiger Woods' name on the top of it. I think everybody starts to get a little excited. How about round 2 of PGA?
Right here at the arena. People saying, you see what Tiger's doing today. So we will monitor that. Of course, it's a huge day of action on ESPN. In college basketball. We got K-State and Kansas coming up in the Big 12 semis at 7 o'clock. And Duke UNC, the nightcap tonight. Tomorrow will be the Big 12 championship at 6 o'clock. And then the ACC final at 8:30 from Brooklyn. Mitchell. Auburn having a tough time finding it. Yet to make a field goal in the second half. Long ball just rattles out. It's Sexton down there in the midst with the rebound. Tied up, and it'll go with Auburn on the possession arrow.
Shot from Petty, and Sexton just goes up and rips it out before the held ball. But let's talk a little bit about John Petty. Sexton's been phenomenal. The other talented freshman, John Petty, has been anything but. He has yet to make a shot in St. Louis.
And you keyed it on it early on, his road struggles. This is a guy who he has gotten into some streaks with his home shooting. Set a school record in one game this year with 10 3-pointers, had 8 against Auburn. And it just won't go for the Tigers. Their last made field goal was with 1:27 left in the first half. Smith cleans it up and the foul.
What a run by Alabama. Again, in open floor. Their energy level and their attention to detail much better here in the second half than Auburn. You see a lot of guys swiping defensively. The block shot, that's good. But the finish, even better because you're able to gather it. And Galen Smith, he has made a couple of really big plays yesterday in the game, and then that one right there.
Had a solid 8 points on 4 of 5 shooting yesterday against A&M. Malik Dunbar, his first foul today. And Alabama is enjoying their largest lead, 48-42, as they roared back after trailing by 10 at the half. Remember, we mentioned the only time that Auburn lost this year when leading at the half was to Alabama.
Now, to me, that's a miss by the officiating crew. Mustafa Heron clearly pushed off with his elbow to create space. It should have been an offensive foul. They don't make that call, and then they reward him by giving him the foul on the contact, which was the second foul on the play.
3 on Ingram. Harper, back rim, And still an 0 for in this second half for Auburn. 0 for 9 shooting. And finally, it drops for John Petty. And the good times keep rolling on for the Tide in this second half. And a timeout called by Bruce Pearl. Auburn's offense has fallen asleep. Alabama is crimson red hot. 51-42. Tide's momentum continues on here in St. Louis. John Petty, who had struggled all day long, now feels it.
Way to withstand a storm. Too many of them were uncontested now. They were wide open because we weren't flying around down there. Coach has got the offense in front of them. They're going to be a little bit more organized this half. We've got to play better down there. Understand? You just can't sit back and hope they miss.
Well, you can hope they miss, but they haven't missed, and that's what's frustrating Bruce Pearl, his team's lack of offense in this second half. Meanwhile, Alabama nailing 5 of 8 from 3, and the Tide have turned things around completely thanks to a 20-1 run to start this second half. Alabama trailed 41-31 at the break, now up by 9.
They need Bryce Brown to get involved in this game.
Aaron will head to the line as the foul's on Braxton Key, and for Key, that is 4.
Good job by Heron utilizing the shot fake, getting to the free throw line. He's only 2 of 6, though, from the free throw line this afternoon. But Tessa, as I mentioned, Bryce Brown, he's 1 of 7, 0 of 6 from beyond the arc.
Aaron cuts it to 7. Auburn still without a made field goal in this second half, as Heron has all 3 points for Auburn in this second half from the line. Sexton. Strong effort, and he'll earn a trip to the stripe.
The Iron Bowl on the hardwood here in St. Louis for the SEC tournament, the right to go to the semifinals.
The personification of rivalry.
It's ridiculous how good this is.
UNC and Duke. The saga continues.
That is tonight, the semifinals of the ACC up in Brooklyn. Virginia and Clemson will get things going early. Clemson struggled against Virginia back in January, and Duke and North Carolina for the 3rd go-round tonight, 9 o'clock on ESPN. Bagley went for 21 points and 15 rebounds in the last meeting with UNC, and he was spectacular last night as well. Horace Spencer just picked up his 4th foul, sending Sexton to the line for the first time tonight, and now, for the 14th time this season, a 20-point game from Colin Sexton.
Well, you mentioned that ACC tournament. Look, Carolina-Duke, there's no better rivalry in college basketball, and it's going to be great tonight. But this is Auburn doesn't get a lot of respect. We talk so much about Carolina-Duke. How about Virginia's got a #1 next to their name, not just in the ACC, but in the country.
Brown off balance, had a scooper with the right hand, wasn't even close. The struggles continue for Auburn. They are 0 of 10 shooting in this second half. Into the post, feeding Smith. And he was fouled. Let's listen in to Bruce Pearl.
Hey, listen, who's making plays and who's not? They're making plays and we're not. That's all there is to it. No energy at all. Nothing. No energy. Guys are coming up the bench, French, and they can't run down the floor and get a rebound.
Bruce Pearl continually talking about how Colin Sexton is giving this team fits, reminding his guys once again there's no reason for Sexton to be able to drive down the lane the way he has. You've got to double team him. Also saying we're still in great shape. We haven't scored much, but we have drawn fouls. So he told him, keep your body language positive. Reminded them of that belief he was telling them about before this game even started, guys.
Yeah, Laura, 3 made free throws for Auburn is all the offense they have generated. 0 for 12 now. In over 10 minutes. Their last made field goal was with 1.5 minutes left in the first half. Herron, that wouldn't go either. And Sexton on the go. Tide running, kicking to the corner. Petty now driving and in.
Well, and it goes back to what Bruce Pearl was saying. They've been doubled up on the glass here in the second half. And because of that, they're not getting second chance points opportunities. They're not securing the ball off of at their defensive end. And Alabama is running in open space. And when they're in open space, that is where Colin Sexton thrives the best, and so do the Tide.
Nothing will drop for the Tigers. Sexton lines it up and puts it down. Colin Sexton, 24 points.
Anybody want to put Alabama in the last 4 in right now? I think they might be moving up a little bit here, partner.
Nothing to question. Murray closed out on him, altered the shot. And they say there's a foul underneath going for the rebound. And so they'll walk it down. That's Herron's third.
A beautiful dump off by Ingram. Colin Sexton in free space, and look at the flair, the flash, the showmanship of young Colin Sexton. He has been lights out here in St. Louis.
Smith will be shooting 1-1. A 25-point swing by the Tide. Sums it up, doesn't it? Face-numbing effort from their Tigers.
Bruce Pearl imploring his team to push and start creating tempo.
Finally, Mustafa Herron.
Almost 10 minutes and 15 seconds before they finally made their first field goal in the second half.
Ingram matched up with Herron, was trying to create a little space. Now here's Sexton. And Brown reached in.
Trying to double Colin Sexton, trying to get the ball out of his hands on the catch.
Brown's second personal. These 2 days in St. Louis have been spectacular from this young man from Mableton, Georgia, playing opposite his old high school teammate Jared Harper. Didn't play in the first game against Auburn, had an abdominal strain, and then he let loose on February 21st. He went for 25 in that loss.
Tess, this has been one of the more dramatic turnarounds I've seen in a game.
Stunning. You got a superstar on one side in Sexton, who's been playing like it. And you got an Auburn team that has been flat. And this is what you get. Sexton, 53 points now in 2 SEC tourney games. Okeke, good effort. Sexton knocks it away. Behind the back, wrap around, and climbing the ladder is Dante Hall. Oh my, Colin Sexton, give us more. My, oh my. Farnham, is he putting on a show in St. Louis?
It starts at the defensive end. Colin Sexton's ability to get in the passing lanes, wrap it around, and Dante Hall, go ahead. Get up on the iron.
I mean, that is flat out silly from Sexton. He is feeling it every which way.
The young bull has been in a china shop in the second half, and he's destroying it.
And just look at him sitting here, how pumped up he is, how engaged he is.
He is clapping on missed free throws.
He is fist pumping on missed free throws.
Alabama came here on a mission.
Down 10 at the half, up 17 with Sexton leading the way again, 26. Trying to split defenders. Now a fight for the ball and up ahead.
That's a foul.
Now Ingram will be tagged here, and that'll be 4 now on Dazon Ingram. You look through the history of the SEC tournament and how critical it is to have that double bye that Auburn enjoys as the #1 seed. Top 4 seeds get the double bye. Last SEC tournament champion that didn't have the bye to the quarterfinals and go on to win the whole thing. 2008, Georgia.
Georgia's still alive. Going against Kentucky later on today. You know how that one, Yante Maton, has been phenomenal here in St. Louis. So has Tayshawn Hightower, who's back-to-back games. He's tied his career high at 13.
Freshmen on Georgia are finding their stride all of a sudden. Mizzou found that out yesterday, and that was a Mizzou team that was playing good ball and had the prize prospect returning in Michael Porter Jr., but Maton went for 21 and 10, and Georgia, Kentucky will be coming up after this game here on what is a fun day of action from here in the SEC to what we will see tonight in the Big 12 with Kansas and K-State. And, of course, the ACC, Clemson, Virginia on E2 at 7 o'clock, and then ESPN, the nightcap, UNC and Duke. More and more and more from Colin Sexton.
Talking about a player that just is in control and celebrates the big moment. Colin Sexton.
3 on Bryce Brown as Sexton just can't stop.
Tess, I spent a week with him up at the Nike Hoop Summit last year, and I watched him play out on the floor with the likeness of a lot of great freshmen, including Michael Porter, Jared Vanderbilt from Kentucky, and I left that week talking about Colin Sexton. I was as impressed with him as any other player that I saw up there, and he's a young man that worked hard to transform his game and put himself in the national spotlight. Continuing, waking up early in the morning, trying to get better at different aspects of his game, and it's showing out.
Bryce Brown with the drive there. Of course, Brown had an outstanding season. Was AP first team All SEC. Snubbed by the coaches in the league. Was second team in the coaches voting. But he is opposite the star of the week here in St. Louis. 29 points now from Colin Sexton. Mitchell chases it down. Auburn on the run. Herron. Follow up that time by Okeke.
What happens, you take that shot in the corner, and if you miss it, a great rebound. And in transition, they had the numbers. They executed brilliantly. That's what Auburn does when it's at its best.
Mitchell fouled him on the drive there. Got a timeout as Colin Sexton put on the show. Wrap around. Leave it. Slam it with Hall. Alabama. Huge second half. Yeah, they did it yesterday, and he's doing it again today. Flipping the switch brought to you by Boost Mobile.
And when you talk about flipping the switch, I mean, you flip the script on Auburn after the first half. It is 35-11 here in the second half. Colin Sexton leading the way for Alabama with 29 points, 6 rebounds, 6 threes.
Coming off the timeout here, 7:18 to play, 66-52. Sexton, 40 of his now 56 points scored in this SEC tournament have come in the second half.
Meanwhile, Auburn has yet to make a three-point shot in the second half. After making 7 in the first, they are 0 for 8.
Just 3 of 18 shooting overall in this second half is Auburn. After leading by 10 at the break, Sexton. Mustafa Heron. As Auburn will try to chip away, try to find some hope here as the top seed. Ooh, oh boy. Dante Hall took a big spill that time up and over Okeke.
Dante Hall fell really, really hard. We saw Jaylen Brown last night take a bad fall.
Well, you worry about him coming down from that height and hitting his head on the hardwood. See the medical staff so quick to get out there. And help him up to that seated position. And what you often see with a player who clearly has a head injury like that is they will move in stages when they get him up. But here's what happened. You got a 6'9" guy coming over the top of a 6'8" guy from that height after leaping. They brought him up to that seated position and then ask him how he's feeling, get a sense of it. But great to see Dante Hall walking off the court and shaking that off. They will surely put him through the concussion protocol and see where he measures up against his baseline. You can see Hall able to gather himself as time passed. The medical staff will walk back to the locker room with him and closely monitor Dante Hall. So Kiki is shooting 1-1, and Auburn trailing by 14. 6:41 remaining here. There's Ingram. Past Heron and scores. 9 points for Ingram.
A much stronger second half by Dazon Ingram.
Step back, Mustafa Heron. Strong rebound by Sexton, getting right in with the bigs. He has been so impressive. 29-point game, 7 rebounds for Sexton, 24 hours after having one of the plays of the year in college basketball. 19 points in the second half for the freshman. Ingram fouled as he made that move to the left. And that is now 4 on Heron. Double bonus for Bama with Ingram at the line.
Dazon Ingram had a really strong game yesterday versus A&M, 13-9. And we mentioned it in the first half, coming out of the half, that he'd have to play better here in the second half. And Colin Sexton has stole the show. There's no question about that. But Dazon Ingram has been really good here in the second half. Aggressive, attacking, trying to get to the offensive end. Only 4 points at the half. And now he's up to 10. There's 6 points here, maybe 7 coming on this made free throw, and just the collective way he's played has stood out.
Which, when coaches and staff members of Alabama tell you when he plays well, they play well, they consider him the variable, the X factor of this team. Dunbar, good effort that time.
Wedge and use the body to create that angle for that finish.
His first basket of the day. 30-point game for Colin Sexton. 10 made field goals, 31 tallied up. And a big lead for Bama that's maintained. As strong of a tournament performance as we've seen in recent years. He was looking for Smith, able to track it down himself. And the second chance from Key, and he'll head to the line. Sean Murray, his third personal.
How about even in that instance, a late shot clock, you throw it up just to try to hit the rim, and then those are the type of rebounds in the first half Auburn was getting. They would rebound the ball and immediately take that into transition. Instead, Braxton Key works his way in, gathers, gets fouled, and goes to the free throw line.
Got to go back to 2002. Have a Bama player with a 30-point game in the SEC tourney. Guess he wants to keep the muscles warm, huh, Farnham? Do everything you can on the court and then get on the bike.
You take a break for about 20 seconds. You're going to go back in at the under 4 timeout. I mean, I like physical conditioning, but that might just be ridiculous.
They often talk about the fact that he doesn't take a break. This is a guy who had a 4.0 GPA his first semester and was never in the gym. They would shut off the lights and say, go be a normal college kid. Enjoy time at the dorm and with friends. But he is built with a mission in mind. Obviously will be a high NBA draft pick. And he's pumping it up on the bike there as he's been putting it down against Auburn with 31 points on 10 of 15 shooting.
I'd conserve some of that energy. I'm just saying. Like, I get it, want to stay warm. It's not like he's pedaling hot, like real hard right now. I think he's more on like a beach cruiser going down the Strand in Manhattan Beach. Officials administering a warning to everybody out on the floor after Ingram and Dunbar seemingly had a little bit of it after the foul was called.
Of course, no matter what sport they're playing, one of the more heated rivalries in college athletics. Of course, the Iron Bowl and the football field went Auburn's way this year. SEC championship game, though, that they were able to earn a trip to, not the case. There's Dunbar with the right hand. And secured that time by Ingram. And then Dunbar fouled him. 3:50 to play. Sexton is staying warm. He's been red hot out there on the court. Tied in total command.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Principal. Investments, retirement, insurance.
Best player, bar none, in the SEC. Jonte Mayton doing what he does.
Here's Mayton again. Easily passed and sending it down. AP voted Jonte Mayton the SEC Player of the Year. Missouri found out about that yesterday. Went for 21 points, 10 rebounds, and now Kentucky has to deal with him as the 12th seed Georgia team has really found themselves. And Big Blue Nation, you put this thing in Nashville, you know where you're getting. You put it in St. Louis, it looks the same way. They have come here to the SEC tournament to support their Cats. That is coming up next after Alabama and Colin Sexton finish things off here against the rival Tigers. We got Kentucky, Georgia, and then tonight on the SEC Network, Tennessee, Mississippi State, and Florida, Arkansas. Of course, tonight right here on ESPN. it is going to be Duke, North Carolina at 9 o'clock Eastern.
Can't wait for that one. Also looking forward to seeing Kansas take on Kansas State. I mean, Malik Newman, who played in the SEC at one time. Boy, did he have a great game last night for Bill Self. 30 points.
It was Malik Newman who, back in January in the first meeting with K-State, had the game-winning free throws in the final seconds. And there's your Big 12 semi. West Virginia, Texas Tech, the other Big 12 semi. That'll be on ESPN2 tonight. That should be a very good one. See, a lot of channel surfing between West Virginia, Texas Tech, and Duke UNC.
They talk about two great guards in that game. Javon Carter, who had 18 and 11 last night, and then Keenan Evans, who came back from injuries, now playing like Keenan Evans was playing earlier in the year. Back-to-back games with over 23 points for the Red Raiders.
Ingram spins through the lane, took steps in doing so. Take a closer look at things in the Big 12. Told you about K-State and Kansas. That's on ESPN at 7. There's that West Virginia, Texas Tech matchup. Championship will be tomorrow at 6 Eastern on ESPN.
Great defense will be played in West Virginia and Texas Tech. I mean, those are two teams that really get after you at the defensive end of the floor.
Let's check in with Laura.
Tess, time to find out who's taking the next step, brought to you by Regions Bank, and it is Colin Sexton. Now, where he takes his next step, obviously we've seen what he does on the court. He takes his next step in the classroom, and he has a 4.0 GPA as a business major at Alabama. He takes a lot of pride in his academics. It's a big part of everything that he focuses on each day because he wants to make sure that he can get his degree, trying to put in all that extra work. He made 1B, and it was in high school in biology. He said he's not a big fan of the sciences, much more of a fan of math. Did you guys ever make a B or, anything less than that?
Well, Farnham,
less than that?
I'm going to make an assumption with you.
What? What's your assumption?
No,
I want to know.
Straight A guy.
No, I was not a straight A guy.
Putting the head down in the books all the time.
I appreciate that, but yeah, no. I failed in some of the sciences as well. Sciences were not my strength. There was one science class I had to take at UCLA. Let's just say it was nail biting all the way through the final.
Avery Johnson came into this week here in St. Louis with all the question marks. Would they, wouldn't they get themselves a Selection Sunday celebration? They had lost 5 straight games before Thursday's thrilling last-second buzzer-beater win against Texas A&M. And now this run in St. Louis.
Tess, if anyone had doubt coming into today still, go ahead and erase it. The SEC is going to get 8 teams in, minimum, into the NCAA tournament field. Because why you say minimum is because what happens if somebody unexpected, what happens if Georgia wins the SEC tournament?
That's correct.
Or Mississippi State. Now all of a sudden you could look at potentially maybe even 9 teams getting in. This has been a great year for the SEC. And as much as people go, well, football conference, yeah, football's great. So is gymnastics, as Laura Rutledge could tell you, softball, and every other sport. Basketball is there now.
And 8 NCAA teams, which Lenardi says is how it projects right now. Sexton, fading away from 15, was nearly there. Tap it, wouldn't drop. Smith secures it, has the putback. 8 NCAA teams for the SEC. That would be the record. They've had 6-7 times, but it hasn't happened since 2008. And this is the way that the master plan was put forth and envisioned by Greg Sankey, the conference commissioner. Point of emphasis for all the schools, spend the money on the big-time coaching. Have the facilities. The talent will come. The level of competition was raised up. Night in and night out, it was tough in this league. Nobody knows that better than Bruce Pearl over many years in the league. As Alabama will come in for a nice soft landing here. An incredible rally in the second half after trailing by 10 at the half. And Ingram will get the chance to add to it.
Really impressed with the way that Alabama came out after halftime, trailing by 10, and their commitment to the defensive end. We can be wowed by Colin Sexton. But Tess, let's go back to the fact that they did not give up a made field goal to the Auburn Tigers for over 10 minutes of action.
It was incredible. And so was this guy, Colin Sexton. And either Kentucky or Georgia is going to have to deal with him in the semis. 10 of 16, 6 3-pointers, perfect from the line, 5 for 5 from the stripe, and a 31-point night where he tacked on 7 rebounds. That coming off of his spectacular outing late against A&M.
It is all smiles on Alabama.
Just the 22nd second half point for Auburn there. Season low of second half points for Auburn.
And the largest margin of defeat on the season for Auburn was 14 against Temple.
Lawson Schaefer thought he was going to have an assist there, but a travel. Smith anxious to go up. Sexton encouraging those who are bringing it in to close the show here against the rival Tigers.
And by the way, this loss obviously hurts Auburn from the standpoint of it's your rival. It's your one opportunity. You came in as the top seed here at the SEC tournament, but does not diminish what Bruce Pearl's team accomplished over the course of the year or what still lies ahead for the Tigers in the NCAA tournament.
It'll be interesting to see what happens with seeding with the NCAA tournament, as Auburn now has lost 4 of their final 6 games. The heave from Lawson Schaefer. What do you see happening with Auburn seeding-wise?
They could be bumped down a line. I don't think much more than that. I think the concern has obviously been there since the McLemore injury as far as how this team would respond, but Bryce Brown didn't have his best game today. Did not make a 3-point shot in this game. That's very unlike Bryce Brown.
Well, Lenardi had them as a 3 coming into the tournament.
I think they can go to a 4.
Would they go all the way down to a 5?
Potentially, but I do think they only drop down 1 line. Because you have to look at the entire resume and everything this team accomplished over the course of the season. It doesn't get erased with 1 loss. And that'll do it. The young bull, Colin Sexton, might be changing his name to Mr. March because so far St. Louis has been his kind of town.
He's got that hop in his step. He is fired up. A 31-point day. 21 in the second half for Colin Sexton. He also had 21 in the second half yesterday with the game winner against A&M. He has taken over St. Louis. They trailed by 10. Then they go on to outscore Auburn 50-22 in the second half. Alabama is advancing to the SEC semis. Let's update that bracket. As the top seed is ousted here in St. Louis. And now Kentucky and Georgia will have their go at it to see who meets up with Colin Sexton and this Tide team that has found their stride all of a sudden, snapping the losing streak.
Bruce Pearl upset over something happened in the handshake line. The Alabama strength coach and Bruce Pearl were in each other's face.
Well, we'll get a sense of that. Try to get you an update as the day continues here. Laura is with the superstar of the day.
All right, thanks, Joe. Colin, yesterday was about keeping your NCAA tournament chances alive. What did you show the committee and the world today?
That don't count us out. I felt like we played a whole 40 minutes of a game, and we came out with a victory.
31 points for you. I think you may want to consider never leaving this arena, right?
Right.
But what can you say about what allowed you to be money from the three-point line?
I feel like coach just told me to keep shooting. I have been struggling from the three-point line, but I found it and got my rhythm today, and it was going in.
Okay, the shooting's one thing, but the behind-the-back pass to Dante Hall for the dunk, you haven't seen the highlight yet,
right.
But what did that feel like?
We just out there having fun, and when you're having fun, I feel like nobody can beat us.
What was said with this team at halftime? You're down 10 points. You come back and you win this thing.
Coach told us just not to give up and keep playing. Fight through adversity because it's gonna come.
You have some celebration dances after you make shots that I need you to explain. Some of them are like some shimmies.
Yeah.
You got some. What are those?
We're just out there having fun, a little shimmy, just having fun. That's all it is.
Can we get the shimmy one more time?
I can't even do it. I got to make a shot first. I got you next game. I got you next game.
All right, we'll see the shimmy next game. Thanks, Colin.
Thanks, Laura. We made enough shots to get everybody dancing. 6 of 8 shooting on the threes for Colin Sexton. He says, we're just out there having fun. Are they ever? And how much fun has it been to watch him wrap around behind the back on the feed after dropping in 31 and now advancing to the SEC semis. We got Kentucky and Georgia coming up next to see who gets to try to handle Colin Sexton. But for now, another visit with Adnan.